Hey everybody. Okay, today on As It Stands topic will be the number one fear of religion. Now, the religion that of course I'll be talking about today is the only real primary religion in the world, the Abrahamic religions. Now, what would you say the number one fear of the Abrahamic religions would be? Would it be dissent amongst its followers? Now, I wouldn't say it would be dissent amongst the followers, because even if and you have situations where people interpret the books differently, you'll just create a new denomination. That's why there's dozens of different types of Christians that all use the same holy book, because they all just interpret it differently. Now, would it be that the people that the religion won't be accepted, that it won't spread and it won't flourish? Well, you can look around the world today and see that that is simply just not the case. Only country that I can think of where religion is don't play any type of role and is actually, I won't say criminalized, but it's taken out of the social sphere forcibly by the government, would be China. That would be the only place in the world where I would say that religion would be under an attack, if you could. But in the East, they haven't really been much of a religious as far as a deity type culture anyway, so I wouldn't really count that. But anywhere else in the world, either Islam or Christianity or Judaism will the majority of the population will subscribe to one of those three religions. Now, that brings me to the fear. The fear of it, in my opinion, would be knowledge. The one thing that the Abrahamic religions fear absolutely the most would be knowledge. Now, in the Bible, in Genesis, the first sin that was committed by Adam and Eve was the sin of eating from the tree of knowledge. Now, I would like to go down two different paths. Now, I think about that two different type of ways. Now, let's look at it the biblical way. God told Adam and Eve not to do something specifically, and they did it, and now they're punished. It's a simple illustration of when God told someone to do something and they didn't do it, and He punished them. Now, look at that punishment. The punishment was original sin and death. Death. That means Adam and Eve before that was immortal. Now, that punishment is actually a torture. He actually punished and tortured Adam and Eve to death. If you was to take that same type of story, that same type of scenario, that same type of situation, and apply it to today, you know what that's called? That's called a dictatorship. Look at the people of North Korea, I will use as an example. The people there believe that the Kim family are deities themselves, and they look at those people, as the Kim family, as gods. And us in the West and everywhere else around the world, I don't think there's really no other country that agrees ideologically with North Korea, and we look at them as dictators and as cruel and unjust individuals because we see them as people. But yet, if a person that lives in the sky and created the world in 7 days and if he does it, then it's somehow accepted. That's, to me, I see that as inconsistent. Now, the second way that I would like to look at this, and I believe this is the most sinister way, is, as we all know, the Bible is of course written by man, and I'm gonna get into this later, but it's the ordained word of God. Now, let's think about this. Let's just use this as a thought experiment. You have this man, and this man that's creating this religion. The one that's not even the one that's creating the religion, the one that's writing it down. Let's say we take King James and whatever, the one that's given credit for compiling the Bible. And as everyone know, the Bible just means a collection of stories. So let's take this person, for instance. We have a person that's not stupid. He's not dumb. But yet he takes these fairy tales, fantasized stories, and he puts them together. Now, the first thing that he tells you, the first thing that comes out in this book is, don't try to learn anything. Don't try to get any type of knowledge. Don't you dare try to question me. Don't dare ask any question of what not I, what God told you to do. I'm not saying this is what God told you to do, and that exemplifies passing the buck, because with this mystical writing that God told you to write, you can simply just pass it off as if this was not a conjuring of your imagination. It then turns into, if anything bad happens with something that you wrote, you can just be like, oh, it wasn't me, it was God. You just pass it off into an invisible force. Now I believe that is more sinister. You have somebody that knows better influencing the population with propaganda against learning, against objective and critical thinking. It's nothing against religion in and of itself. It's the demonization of learning that I find and I take issue with. Now, this. Now, you would think that, okay, we have a person that has all their bases covered, that, they hit every check box on the list. All right, now we have a religion that people will follow blindly. People won't even ask questions. All right, we're set. But if you think that's all you need, no, you're wrong. This religion of any sort, and even within Christianity, it's mainly localized, regionalized. You could take the same Baptist or Protestant or Catholic in any given area, and they will teach it a little differently based upon geographical locations. Now, let's say we take the early days of Christianity, where it was, or let's just say the Abrahamic religion when it was just flourishing. So let's say Judaism before Christ, or even while Christ was there, and even after Christ, during Muhammad and everything else. They were mainly just regionalized. These ideas were regionalized, and you have other people at the time that had different ideas, such as the Egyptians and the Druids and other, as they called them, pagans. Now, what they had to do at that point was crush any type of outside interference coming in, because the thing about those other religions is a lot of them encouraged critical thinking. Now, that is something I will get into on a future episode, on a future show, but what they did was they crushed any type of outside influences. That is why you had things like the Salem witch trials, the Inquisitions, the book burning. They wanted to get rid of anything that may have jeopardized the monopoly that they held over the people's mind. And as we all know, you control people's mind, you control people's wallet. But that's another conversation for another day. And If anybody know anything that I'm alluding towards, I'm talking about purgatory scam. Now, that will be today's episode. Now, I will like to tell you that now I'm not the whole focus point of this is not to pick and not to bicker and not to nitpick certain things out of one religion, out of one subset group of ideals and pit them up against another. The whole point of this channel is just to foster and to encourage critical thought. So please leave all your opinions and thoughts, and if I missed anything or if I made a mistake or anything, leave it in a comment below. And I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye.